Jennifer Gass,
Yes.
who is a really great bud.
Yeah.
And she's from the Stockton,
San
San Joaquin Lions Club, 120 members.
Oh no. we were at 19 and 4 are starting a new club and 1 had to transfer back to Ohio. So
Oh, okay.
do that math.
Yeah.
We're growing again.
So,
Yes.
the cool thing is,
Yeah.
we put together a plan for Helen Keller's 100th year anniversary, which is June 30th. And Helen Keller spoke at Cedar Point, Ohio, 100 years ago now. And she basically asked Lions to be knights of the blind in the crusade against darkness. And you know, if you think about it, all that time to now, we have Lions, we're still doing the same thing. She started us in all of the eye care and vision-related projects. I know there were some Lions back then that started Braille magazines, right? Before, yeah.
And that is how Helen came to know that the Lions were the great organization and the one to reach out to become her knights, because the kids were saying, we want materials, you know, not just our school materials, we want something fun. And there were Lions clubs there at the Clovernick School that provided that. So that's how Helen knew to challenge us. And we have done that job pretty well for the last 100 years. And our presentation today is reaching for the next 100 years, eyes forward, Lions Clubs and Helen Keller Challenge 2.0.
Yay, thank you.
Yay.
So imagine if Jimmy gets the screen to work.
Yeah.
This is about a friend raiser. You know, sometimes we do fundraisers, sometimes we just do regular service projects. This is probably the biggest thing we could do as a district and clubs, because when you think about it, we're already doing vision service projects, and we can create new ones and also educate on how Helen Keller got us into vision service. So we have been launching this in California and around the world. So we launched it to Nigeria about 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah,
2 weeks ago?
about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. India was about a week and a half ago. Canada's coming up. Pakistan.
MD19 was on Tuesday night.
Yeah, MD19.
The Knights of the Blind Committee for three areas, so that was great.
And during the MD4Con, Manoj Shah was there, and he took back information to Kenya, and he has communicated to Lion Kevin Patel that he will be booking a session for Kenya by the end of the month. So it's very, I mean, that's huge. So we had, and how many of you were at MD4Con? Did you see the peanut butter and jelly?
Oh, yes.
Oh, we had it here yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good.
So he's taking that model to Africa. So that's huge when our 3rd international VP picks up on something. It's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have the honor of knighting him as our knight anew for the next 100 years at the MD4Con. My cane was actually used for the ceremony, and he got a Helen Keller medal to take back to Africa. So it was really exciting.
So what we did as a committee on this is we built a bunch of assets that any club could use. Because if you do it on your own, it just takes a lot of time, right? To create a logo, to create background information for a press release, to create a presentation that you're not seeing right now. And so that's all up on a Google Drive, and we're happy to invite everyone here to use it. Then you can download it and customize it for your purpose. So for example, at our last eye clinic, the District 4C6 eye clinic, it was a Helen Keller eye clinic, right? So you're just basically rebranding what you're doing to make it a bigger thing. And Lion Jennifer started a Facebook page that's growing pretty rapidly now. And she's posting what? You're posting probably 4 times a week on it?
At least, yeah. We're trying to get everyone to use the image and a minimum of hashtag Helen Keller 100 all run together, so that even blind lions like me can search and find your great vision service posts and we will share them through the Lions Clubs and Helen Keller Challenge 2.0 page. Others can search that and see what you're doing, and the community can search and see what we're doing for the blind. So we are just trying to put these tools together to help everyone have something recognizable to look for and put it first and foremost in everyone's minds that we are Helen Keller's Knights of the Blind, and vision is one of our primary initiatives.
So we want to inspire all the clubs to start thinking about the service projects that they do and start thinking about your calendar of service projects. You have a whole year. I mean, this is multi-year really, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it can go on for years. But first of all, you get visibility that is interesting. So a press person loves to write stories, human interest stories, and Helen Keller is really well known around the world, especially to people our age, and now also I ask a lot of younger people and they say, oh yeah, we learned about her in middle school. And so think about, you're talking about Helen Keller and how Lions are supporting this, and you're also talking about your project. And then add to your project the ability to invite people to it. So you're inviting not just the Lions in your club, invite a lot of other people. Because as a friend raiser, this is a way to recruit new members.
Yes, and there's so many organizations, groups, parents, kids out there that have vision as an interest or vision service as a need. So if they know Lions are the ones to go to, we will be in their hearts and in their minds. I was just doing a health fair Thursday evening, and one of them ran up and said, I still have my name card from last year at this event at Chase Chevrolet when you wrote my name in Braille, and I kept it. And one lady came up that they had lost her phone number at our vision screening, but she recognized me to come up and gave me her new phone number, so now we can get her glasses. So if you keep having the images, the faces out in your community and all this branding, people will remember to come to the Lions.
And we have a large pop-up sign that you can bring to events. And I think we're going to provide that. Clubs can purchase it or districts can purchase it. It's already designed. We can just change the name of your district.
Yeah, we're going to be, for marketing, we're going to be putting out a media marketing kit to all the districts by the end of this month. And that will trickle down to the club levels also. And there's going to be a flyer in there with that image of that Helen Keller. It's one of those pull-up banners, or you can do anything you want, really. You've got the tools in the toolbox. You can go in there and pull the brand and pull the verbiage and whatever and create your own banner, whatever size you want. But the whole idea is to have something at your service projects so the public will see it. Something to identify who you are and, you know, and what they're seeing by Helen Keller. Everyone knows who Helen Keller is, but not everybody knows who Lions are. So that's why we kind of launched off this campaign for marketing so we could use Helen Keller's name as leverage to get the public's attention for Lions Vision Service.
And what better time than the centennial anniversary of her challenge, right?
And if you have this banner made, it won't end. This campaign goes through 2025, but the opportunity won't end then, because Helen Keller is still going to be a thing, and so is Lions Vision. So you can continue to use that banner for years to come. Just use it at any event that you're doing that's vision related.
And we want you to connect the dots. So for example, I know you can't see this, but all the vision screenings that you do, you could bring the logo on a foam board or the sign or print out signs and have them as have them as something that people can refer to. And secondly, you can connect to existing organizations that help the blind and visually impaired. And maybe Jennifer,
Yeah.
you want to talk about that.
So our club, I'm the secretary of our club. Our president is blind. One of our board members are blind. Another member who recently joined and passed away was blind. We have disabilities. We have elderly members. We have all different abilities and lack thereof, you know, depending. But we partner with the National Federation of the Blind, our local chapter. Several, like Lion Rodrigo has joined the NFB as a result of being a Lion, and vice versa. So we do a lot of partnership. I'm also on the advisory board for the local blind center. So this last outreach we did, we had their information out and Lion Rodrigo was assisting me. We were timing people, giving them a minute to try to find safety pins by feel in a bucket of rice. I had a bop it challenge. I had some high school kids. One of them had played before, one hadn't, but nobody beat my daughter who had like 87 on it. I didn't even beat my daughter. So there's many ways that you can engage the public, but more importantly, I could write names in Braille, and the Braille alphabet bookmarks that we passed out, we give those to people, then they at least have a website for the National Federation of the Blind as a starting point. We have cards that have QR codes to go to the MD4 and California Alliance pages where this Helen Keller information is, and we can always point people back. Lion Donna's info is there, mine is there. CC Kevin Guest can even be captured through there. So if they get back to our websites, they can connect with Lions, and we can point them to a list of agencies in their area, you know, because there's always service opportunities, right? You may be doing what you're doing now, but just think about adding one more activity, maybe something with the visually impaired in addition to the vision screenings you're doing. You know, they're gonna be so appreciative. It would make a big difference.
And we just had Eyes Across California, right,
Yes.
in March. That was a big thing. So that's a big one. Eyeglass collection could be a really big thing too.
In a humanitarian scope, and
So we're working on that, getting that in place before MD convention to get more suitcases to them if you have any connection for UV sunglasses. And this all came out of one of our learning Zooms where we connected with Nigeria. So one small action can create great service opportunities and connections.
and that happened by one of the members on the Zoom asking,
Yeah.
can you guys bring a suitcase of eyeglasses to Orlando and we'll take them home? And I was like, yes, yes, yes. And then like the next day we're like, okay, let's do this, you know?
Right.
So,
We'll be doing it in our district
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So then you've got dining in the dark events, and some people here have done them, right? Who's done a dining in the dark event? Oh, they're great. Okay, well, you want to talk about your dining in the dark event?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh yes, I've hosted and attended many of them, and even 3 times a day practice dining in the dark for at least the majority of my life. But one of the it's a great awareness opportunity, as long as people aren't left with the thought, this is what it feels like to be blind, you know, panicked, because you will adjust, your other senses will get rerouted to by your brain to what works. You have to have the other piece of the puzzle that, you know, with the right training, support, and opportunities, anything's possible. But, so an awareness event, it is fun to have sighted people put on a blindfold. We usually instruct them in the clock face of where food would be laid out on your plate. Say your potatoes are at 12 o'clock, your peas are at 6 o'clock, your chicken's at 9 o'clock. I'm doing it backward for you guys, so I might mess up. And your roll's over here at 3 p.m. No. So we can walk through that. We can, you know, tell people, tune in to your other senses. Think about if you can recognize your companions by their voice, you know, their mood, their emotions. There's a variety of activities you can tie into it, like blind wine tasting, you know, blind olive oil tasting, a bunch of challenges, whatever you want to do. But if you're doing a really nice gala dinner with a big thick steak and all this, probably not, you know, that's like a level 5 challenge. It's probably better not to have spaghetti. You know, you don't want, so our district governor at our meeting in August, he had a snacking in the dark activity at our district meeting. So he had some basic snacks like grapes to pick off a vine, you know, a little cup of yogurt or applesauce, and a few more challenging things, but just to get the effect. So you can scale it down to wherever you are. One of our Leo clubs did this at their high school. They made a whole, they were the first ones to do the Leo's Club and Helen Keller Challenge. They took the logo, made shirts. They had the science department do a whole display about vision. They had the art department do themes of light and darkness. They just had all these neat Helen Keller references and poems and that activity, so I was so proud of them. But, you know, we're always here to give you suggestions or help or ideas, but just do what you're doing and think about a little twist.
Oh yeah, and then White Cane Day is coming up.
Yes.
So that would be a really good opportunity to do something in the community.
Right.
And, just promote it before so you get a lot of people to come. And tell them you're collecting eyeglasses at the same time.
Yes.
So they don't just show up, what's this white cane thing?
Right.
In front of a grocery store
Right.
or whatever.
Some people collect eyeglasses, some people collect donations.
Yes.
What our club has done in this partnership with the National Federation of the Blind for years is do a White Cane Awareness Day walk and celebration. Sometimes we've had a meet and greet in the morning to have people come in, learn about technology, Leos, and different things. And then we do a walk. First, we have a proclamation with the mayor, whoever, different people from the community. Then we just do a walk that ends at Mountain Mike's Pizza, who are very generous with us to do a fundraiser. All those proceeds go to the NFB chapter. This year, they're going to capitalize and learn from what our Lions Club did. We got a CLF grant, and we did the Back to School project, but we did supplies for visually impaired and blind kids and backpacks instead of the usual crayons, rulers, and notebooks. And our Leos helped us stuff it, and they said, hey, this isn't very full. And so they got to understand how, some of those specified equipment is a lot more expensive than a 25-cent box of crayons. But they helped with the project. And then my president and I got to go to 15 different schools because one of our NFB members is a teacher of the visually impaired. He connected us personally with all those students so they could meet an adult blind mentor and give them the backpacks. So I had them come out, they recorded, they interacted at our White Cane Walk, and this year the NFB is going to use the proceeds to do a backpack project like that themselves. Awesome. So, you just make your collaborations and you keep learning.
Yep. So you can see there's a whole service theme through this, and you're using all these marketing assets to basically try and promote a unified approach. And what we're seeing on the Facebook page is now we're getting posts from around the country.
Yes.
Right? So it's starting to take off, and we're seeing, a club that we didn't know is now doing something, and there's a logo. So it looks big, right?
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of clubs are starting to do it. So I would like the opportunity to actually, have you all heard the Helen Keller speech? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
No? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay, you have? Anyone else? A couple? Okay. Kevin has? Well, so Helen Keller was born in Tuscumbia, Alabama, USA in 1880. Helen Keller developed a fever at 18 months of age and left her blind and deaf. By the way, I'm visually impaired, so I struggle a little bit reading. With the help of an exceptional teacher, Ann Mansfield Sullivan of the Perkins School for the Blind, Helen Keller learned sign language and Braille. A few years later, she learned to speak. As an adult, she became a tireless advocate for people with disabilities. And in 1925, she attended the Lions Club International Convention and challenged Lions to become Knights of the Blind in the Crusade Against Darkness. So when we say Knights of the Blind, that's a shortcut, right? It's in the Crusade Against Darkness. So Helen Keller Day. So in 1971, the Board of Directors of Lions Clubs International declared June 1st would be remembered as Helen Keller Day. So June 1st is coming right around the corner, right? Lions around the world implement site-related service projects on Helen Keller Day. So here is her speech, and it was in Cedar Point, Ohio, June 30th, 1925. Dear Lions, and back then ladies, right? Because we'll just say Dear Lions.
Yeah.
Okay. I suppose you have heard the legend that represents opportunity as a capricious lady who knocks at every door but once, and if the door isn't opened quickly, she passes on, never to return. And that is as it should be. Lovely, desirable ladies won't wait. You have to go out and grab them. I am your opportunity. I am knocking at your door. I want to be adopted. The legend doesn't say what you are to do when several beautiful opportunities present themselves at the same door. I guess you have to choose the one you love best. I hope you will adopt me. I am the youngest here. That's interesting, isn't it? I'm the youngest here. Wow. And what I offer you is full of splendid opportunities for service. The American Foundation for the Blind is only 4 years old. It grew out of the imperative needs of the blind and was called into existence by the sightless themselves. It is national and international in scope and in importance. It represents the best and most enlightened thought on our subject that has been reached so far. Its object is to make the lives of the blind more worthwhile everywhere by increasing their economic value and giving them the joy of normal activity. Try to imagine how you would feel if you were suddenly stricken blind today. Picture yourself stumbling and groping at noonday as in the night, your work, your independence gone. In that dark world, wouldn't you be glad if a friend took you by the hand and said, "Come with me and I will teach you how to do some of the things you used to do when you could see"? That is just the kind of friend the American Foundation is going to be to all the blind in this country if seeing people will give it the support it must have. You have heard how through a little word dropped from the fingers of another, a ray of light from another soul touched the darkness of my mind, and I found myself, found the world, found God. It is because my teacher learned about me and broke through the dark, silent imprisonment, which held me, that I am able to work for myself and for others. It is the caring we want more than money. The gift without sympathy and interest of the giver is empty. If you care, if we can make the people of this great country care, the blind will indeed triumph over blindness. The opportunity I bring to you, Lions, is this: to foster and sponsor the work of the American Foundation of the Blind. Will you not help me hasten the day when there shall be no preventable blindness, no little deaf, blind child untaught, no blind man or woman unaided? I appeal to you, Lions. You have your sight, your hearing, and you are strong and brave and kind. Will you not constitute yourselves knights of the blind in this crusade against darkness? I thank you. What a speech. That was a really fantastic
Thank you.
speech. Yeah. So, I guess, should we just go on to questions? Or, could you talk about what we did at the MD4 convention?
Sure.
About the booth?
And just to wrap up on Helen Keller's challenge, we're fighting preventable blindness. We're helping people that are on the border with glasses besides aiding the visually impaired. And as Knights of the Blind today, we might not have so many people groping in the darkness because there are resources and supports out there. But blind people want to work. They want to be productive. They want to be treated normally, part of everyday society. So, electronic accessibility, every accessibility is a barrier that stands in the way of us living the lives we want. So Knights of the Blind can help us hold those doors open to participate in society. It's really one of the best things you can do. Thank you.
So Jennifer here actually manages 10 Facebook pages. Yeah, she does a better job posting than most of us do. And so you adapt, we all adapt.
Yeah, it can take time, but with the correct resources, we can do everything, right?
Yep.
Almost everything. I'm not driving a car yet.
Yep.
But, so at the, we have a great,
Tesla's working on
yes.
Yeah.
I'm scared of that still though, but we have a great council chair, Kevin Guess. He's very supportive. At our MD4 convention, our marketing and service tables were right next to each other. So some of the activities we did to get the Lions and other guests engaged were a peanut butter and jelly making contest where groups of 4 put on a blindfold, made the sandwich. Someone had to judge the prettiest one of the 4. It went on to the final round, and we drew a winner who got a Helen Keller ornament. We had the safety pins and the rice challenge. I don't know what the high was for that. The event I did last Thursday, the high was 11. At my A1 convention, the high was 2. Lion Rodrigo So,
and we had someone.
and he won a lion candy bar.
Yeah,
Right.
someone at the MD4 convention actually put their hands in the jar like this and got the rice and the pins and put them out. And we're like, no,
Yeah.
that's not.
We told him there had to be some discrimination
Yeah,
in
and it's
it. Yeah.
just funny because you get to see like it's one person's perception of what
Mhm.
what she can do, and it's like I would have never thought of like putting my hands and you know what I mean. It's like
Right.
yeah, he had the most pins for obvious reasons, but it's like well that's not
Yeah, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right?
Yeah.
So I had some really light pins. My daughter said if you looked at the bucket, it looked like it was full of little black bugs. But they were longer than the rice. They were kind of rough and pointing at one end. None of them were open because they would have been easy to find, right? And then nobody was finding them, so I threw a handful of larger paper clips in there, and still it was hard. So people couldn't believe they put the blindfold on, they all went away, But we did have a high of 11, which was pretty amazing. The other activity we had there, besides our Braille alphabet bookmarks that people could interact with, was smell jars. So this is a really simple challenge. It works better indoors than out because the smell kind of blows away. But just take your old prescription bottles or any kind of bottles, put a little peanut butter, a little coffee, different things in there, and see if people can identify the scent with their eyes closed or blindfolds. But there's a lot of low-cost, fun, interactive things you can do just to bring that awareness, and it makes it fun as you're interacting and speaking to people.
So
and
Emma-
also,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, also with the peanut butter and jelly sandwich making contest, there were challenges there also. There was actually one lion that couldn't even open the jar of the jelly. So you see what I mean? It's like everyone got a
Right.
different level of skills when it comes, being blindfolded, doing something blindfolded.
Right.
So you know how we get invited to tabletop? So you get invited by some other organizations. Can you Lions tabletop or doing a fair or whatever? Think about getting 100 of the blindfolds are about $10. I think I bought 100 for $10. And you could tabletop with these kinds of things. So when they're talking about the rice and safety pins, you just get a big jar with big enough to put a hand or even two hands in.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah.
And you fill it with rice, you dump the
just
safety
need a
pins,
little
mix
bowl.
it around, and that's one thing. Peanut butter and jelly, that's really simple,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of fun. And video it. Because we
Right.
had Carl Steiner from a different district
Yeah.
doing it at MD4, and we were able to post Carl, and he was getting a lot of response from the Lions in his district about,
Right.
look at what you're doing, right?
And everybody looks at video. I know that PID Bob Lee was at our A1 convention, and he did our White Cane Wander challenge. Best to have a spotter, to make sure everybody's safe. But he walked around. My husband walked around with him, and he commented through the whole video. And ZC Rodrigo caught that for me, but. That went on the global forum on all these different international groups, and everybody really reacted well to that. And I'm really pleased that ID Dave Wyman is going to be our next ambassador with Michigan for our next Learning
Hey.
Zoom. So thank you.
We'll make sure the Zoom works.
Yeah.
But remember that
Yeah, you'll see the PowerPoint then.
that moreover, lions tend to share the information with other lions. What we have to do is share out to our friends and family. That's the key to marketing and to outreaching what lions do. So we're also trying to help clubs understand that concept, and even if you have to, it's kind of like a pyramid thing, talk to your family, hey, I just put this post out, can you share it out now? That's really how it has to work. And it's not just Facebook, it's Instagram, it's any one of the socials.
So I guess now, can we ask the Lions in this room how you would think about applying this in your clubs? Anyone want to go first?
Well, we've done a blind luncheon,
Yes?
and that was really fun. We did the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches yesterday,
Good.
and we're just gonna keep doing it.
Nice.
Make people
Thank you.
aware.
That's great. And you guys can also brag about what you're currently doing. Yeah. Come on, I know
Did you take
Lions
pictures of
will-
it?
Yeah, we have a video of one of our members making it that we sent out.
And you posted it?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to.
Yeah,
pick
we
it
need
up.
to find it and
Yeah.
share it.
So
Hashtag Helen
yeah.
Keller 100.
Yeah, hashtag
Okay.
Helen Keller 100.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the new Leo Club that President George has in Willow Glen. Maybe this is an opportunity for them to educate other students about Helen Keller. And it's a nice service project they could do right on campus. They don't have to do anything off campus.
Uh-huh.
Because they've been very active in the eyeglass one.
They've been very active. in
That's
this.
wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, another thing for you to know, if you have any Delta Gamma sororities in your area, check out if you have a Delta Gamma sorority in your area, because colleges have them, and they've been really active with our district for the last 3.5 years. So it all happened because we were looking for college students to help us on service events. And one of the members in our district was big in San Jose State. So she said, oh, I think there is a sorority there that has blindness as the same cause as we do. And so I found it, right, I searched for it, it was called Delta Gamma. So we made an inroad there, and they started volunteering with us, and 3.5 years later, now we're asking them to join Lions.
Great.
And they want to, so we have like 15 of these students at San Jose State that say, yeah, we're in, we want to do it. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but dues for students, $24. That's it. There's no LCI dues on top of it. There's no MD4, or so no MD4 dues and no district dues. That's the LCI dues. And there's no $35 initiation. So the pitch to the Delta Gammas was really simple.
Yeah.
And there were 65 of them, and it was, we do all this other service, you know us for vision, you've come to all of our eye clinics. In fact, at San Jose State, one of the projects that just happened a couple of weeks ago was they sorted 50,000 pairs of glasses.
Wow.
So Lion Larry Edson and his wife have a big Ford Econoline van. We went to the Vista Center and picked up enough boxes for 50,000 pairs. And the Delta Gammas invited all these other fraternities to come
Nice.
in their big house. And there are 120 students doing it. 120 students. They did it in an hour and a half.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Right? And so this is a really good way to get engagement. So you're just thinking about how to engage the community
Yes.
with outreach. And so now they want to be Lions.
Right.
So
That's a
hopefully
great
that'll
reminder.
happen. Yeah, hopefully.
I
that'll
know before the pandemic, we always had Delta Gamma at University of the Pacific send volunteers out to help with our beat baseball team, blind baseball, and they would put on blindfolds and play a game against us, but we haven't reconnected with them, so thank you for that reminder.
Sure. And the other thing too, with all the budget cuts that are happening, a lot of the agencies are really struggling. So they need us more than ever, right? They need us to serve, they need us to volunteer, they need us to help them raise money. So that's another thing to think about. You're great at raising money.
Yeah.
But in our district, we have Vista Center for the Blind, we have Building for the Blind, right? We have both of those. I think we have a school. I think there's a blind center somewhere else. I can't remember where it is. But
In
there's
San Jose, there's one.
yeah, no, in San Jose. Oh, well, Santa Cruz,
Uh-huh.
and there's one in Palo Alto. Palo Alto too.
Yeah.
So it's like clubs should just be reaching out to them and asking them, what do you need, right?
Right.
Because their budgets are just getting cut, right?
They can always use volunteers.
They can always use
Yes.
volunteers. Yeah.
And I know Willow Glen, I've been posting a lot of your vision service on our Lions Helen Keller page. So do you have any projects you'd like to share or ideas, something new you might do by the end of the year?
No, just we've been really involved with not only the eyeglass sorting, but the vision clinic. We
That's
had
right.
6 volunteers, I think, in the
Yep.
last
Yeah.
finish clinic, and we all were in charge of a lot of things. So we enjoy it. It's good for your heart.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
it is.
doing that.
Really good for your heart.
Yeah.
Lion dollar.
So the thing with the sunglasses to
Nigeria?
Nigeria, how do you know when we're sorting the glasses, we're separating the sunglasses, but how do you know they're the ones that you would need?
I am not proficient on that, I will
Oh.
admit
Right.
it.
If they're not,
Any pair of sunglasses. They're not looking for prescriptions.
they
No, I'm not
want them
saying
to
the
be
prescription, but the
UVA,
How do you
UVB,
know if
UV
they're
400.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know on used glasses if you can
Um,
tell. That's a great question.
There are little lights you can get, and I'll ask Dr. Art. and get
Yeah.
back to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because
Yes.
I've got a couple of boxes of sunglasses, cause I've been sorting things at home.
Yeah.
And so I separate them, but not all of them have, UV on them, so.
So the other thing is we need to recruit more optometrists for our eye clinics.
Yes.
So we've done 7 of them and about 1,400 patients, maybe 1,500 patients. So there's a flyer I can get to everybody, and I gotta tell you my own personal story, okay? So my personal story is I helped get us approved by Kaiser, Santa Clara Hospital, and San Jose Hospital, the head of optometry. We went through their compliance. I don't know if you know this, but state bill, I think it's 1234, allows any professional, optometrist or technician or optician, to work as a volunteer at a eye screening. So our eye clinics are effectively eye screenings. They have full immunity, so they have no liability, and they can dispense used glasses. That's how we're able to do it in the state of California.
Great.
So here's how you recruit. So you go to your optometrist, you're in the chair. You bring a flyer with you for the next upcoming thing, or you bring the recruitment flyer for optometrists. And you say, Dr. Kazemba, have you ever volunteered before? She's pretty young. She goes, oh yeah, I used to when I was in optometry school. Where did you go to optometry school? They all around here, they go to Berkeley, right? They all go to Berkeley. And I said, would you be interested on April 27th to volunteer at our upcoming eye clinic? We really need a lot of help. We need 8 optometrists. And she looks at me and she goes, yeah. My retinal specialist, because I have to go for all this other stuff, I asked him and he goes, Dave, I would only slow the optometrist down because they don't refract people, right? That kind of thing. Then, just to let you know how powerful what we do as in Lions is in all the vision services stuff we do. So we're forming a new club in Morgan Hill, and DG Stan was the person who assembled all this, and just teams of people, and we just walked through the downtown. And what was so cool about it is the reception we got from all the businesses. They were all like, wow, that's cool, a new club, yeah, we want to join that. Well, I said to Stan, how about if we go to these 2 optometry shops? And one was in downtown, we went to them, they knew about Lions, in fact, they had a box. Then the other one, we got in a car and we drove to it. And it was lunchtime and the business was closed. So I walk up and I stick my face in the glass, and there's somebody walking there. He opens up the door, he looks at us kind of confused, and he goes, can I help you guys? And I said, yeah, we're from Lions. We're starting a new Morgan Hill Lions Club. Are you the optometrist? He says, I am. And I said, wow, would you like to join? Do you know what Lions do? He goes, of course I know what Lions do. Would you like to join Lions? And he said, absolutely. So we got a member just by doing this stuff, right? And then I invited him to come serve on April 27th. He's young. He's got a wife who's a nurse and a 1-year-old.
Wow.
He got permission to do it from his family, and he came and he also screened patients. So it's completely doable. So I would just implore everybody to just contact your optometrist. The one thing you need to do is in the form, if you get them to use the QR code, it asks for their personal cell phone number. Why is that? Because Dr. Art Lowe, he's the person who recruits them all, okay, for each eye clinic, if we're not doing it personally. And he tells me that he sends out maybe to 30 people an email or a text. He gets 2 that say yes. And we're on the hook, because when we do these eye clinics, we might have 300 patients. So we have to have a lot of optometrists.
Yes.
So the key thing for this is, he basically says, I have to have their cell phone number because if I don't have it, I have no way to contact them. The front desk won't put me through.
Right.
Okay? So that's another thing. Another thing, if you know any retired optometrists, they can operate under a volunteer license. It's a lot easier to maintain. The continuing education is a lot easier to maintain. The last thing is we have optometric society meetings in our district and other districts, right?
Yeah.
So I happened to go, I reached out to the Monterey Optometric Society and asked them if I could go talk about Lions. And, you know, they wrote back, well, you know, we're really busy. A lot of us are having kids now, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
So this, you know, I figured, okay, I'll leave it alone for a while. A few months later, I get an email. Oh, we forgot to tell you, you're the speaker tomorrow night. Okay, fine. So I drive down to Monterey. I have a presentation that's all about our eye clinics, and you know, we do international eye clinics also out of our district and in Kevin's district. We all do that kind of stuff. In your district, we all do those things. So there were 23 optometrists, and I make a point to show up early. You always have to go and be first at these things, because you get to meet people as they walk in and ask them what their story is. And what was so cool about it, 2 of them said, oh, we used to be lions. Wow. When were you a lion? When I was younger. Now I am really busy, I have family, blah, blah, blah. Would you be willing to volunteer if we do an eye clinic in Watsonville? Yeah, sure, look me up. Right?
Great.
Other of them knew about Lions International missions and have been on them. So they're the most receptive people to us. You just have to reach out to them. That's all there is.
Yeah.
So what other things do you guys want to do? Because we want to help enable it.
Yeah. I
You
know.
want to have fun?
Yes.
Yeah, fun while you serve, right?
Well, you teach in the schools. Could you get a Helen Keller talk into the schools?
Ooh, great idea.
Yeah.
We have a service project that'll be added to our Google file soon, but the MD19 Knights of the Blind Committee, they have a project called Grandpa's White Cane. It's a book. You can get it soft cover $10, hardcover $20 on Amazon, but if you contact them directly, you get the hardcovers for $10. What they do is they take a copy of the book to the school. The teacher reads it to the class, basically all the 3rd grade classes. And then a lion and a low vision or blind member, you know, comes in within the next couple weeks to meet with the kids, show them a little bit about Braille. They have instructions for making some little fake white canes so they can get the experience. But it's like a whole unit that's, you know, minimal cost, and then you leave the book as a donation with the school. They said that the blind kids in their area have really noticed their peers, you know, warming up to them, being more aware and educating their families when they go home. So, you know, it's not that expensive of a project, and it's a great way to connect with your school district and your youth for the future.
You want to talk about
Yeah,
it?
I'm just going to talk what our club is doing for June. You know, Helen Keller's centennial, June 30th, 100-year anniversary of her commission to us. For a year, our club has been working on a Helen Keller mural project. It's a mobile mural, so we had a low vision, hearing impaired artist created it. We went to a school that had disabled students. Some of the blind and hearing impaired students made handprints around the perimeter. This is on a 4x8 piece of plywood. So then we put a plaque on it that has a QR code and says our club in collaboration with National Federation of the Blind, the artists, the school district, yeah. So it's a good piece. It traveled, it was on display for the month of March at a library. For the month of May, it was at our local museum. And this is a photo of some of our members with it at the museum. And the goal is in June, we are permanently dedicating, along with one of our bags for benches, as part of Lions Clubs and Helen Keller Challenge 2.0. Our district, we get one bench a year, and then we donate our other plastic for the district. They donate it back to be a Helen Keller bench. So we just found out, pending a vote of the Art Commission, it'll be going in the Maya Angelou Library in June. We're hoping to have the ceremony June 28th. And to dedicate the bench and the mural at the same building, but you know, this is all of you, all of our Lions, and we will definitely get that info out when it's confirmed, and hope you can come or watch online and celebrate with us.
Awesome. And by the way, thank you. The shirt that Lion Jennifer is wearing
Marketing.
is
Wow.
is the Lions
And the pin.
Yeah, is the Helen Keller Lions Clubs and Helen Keller Challenge 2.0 shirt, and it's available up on CaliforniaLions.
MD4Lions.org shop.
Yeah, MD4 Lions.
It's part of the Express the Lion in You apparel wear.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Slash.
MD4
MD4Lions.org and there's a tab
Oh,
shop.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's one of the tabs off the main menu shop, and then the pins are available there too. We're trying to get the bulk pricing for the pins up there. It might not quite be there yet.
Is there a slash?
Yep.
It's md4lions.org/shop.
And look at the, yeah, or look at the tab shop. And by the way, just to let our international director know, this came from an approved vendor.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, that's good, huh?
David Kingsbury will love you.
Yeah, okay, good, good. Well,
Thank you.
any other questions?
I'll put that.
Thank you.
Well, if not, thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you, guys.